monetary system of the island of Yap. You might not have ever heard of the island of Yap. It's a little island out in the Pacific. It's one of the last places that Europeans discovered. And when they found it, they found that they had a really weird monetary system where in the village square, there was all these raised platforms, and they had these big, giant stones, you call them wheels with holes in them. And you could tell who was rich and who was poor by just looking at the platforms, because the platforms belonged to families. And so if you had a platform with lots of stones, and that meant that family was rich. If you had a platform with no stones, that means that platform was small. And so they would track who had what, and they would move these stones from platform to platform when there was purchases. And what I realized is that this village square was like a database. It was a database in stone. It would have rows that were actually platforms. It was like a row on the tables. And instead of having numbers in the columns or in the cells, it would have these stones that represented value. And the heavier the stone was, the more it was worth. And so I realized this monetary system is a database. And I started looking at other databases such as Bitcoin. And I mean, that's a monetary system and it's a database, and it does the same thing that this Village Square does. It's public. Everybody can see who's got what money. So it's this exact same concept. And then I realized that even when you have cash, that's a monetary system. It's a database that is in physical form, and that each of us are like rows in the table, and we've got these dollar bills that represent values that are in those cells. And then I realized that monetary systems are information systems, and I happen to be getting a PhD in computer information systems, and so I know about something about that. And this opened the idea that if we know that monetary systems are information systems and that money plays the role of data, that we can develop a normative theory of money. That means how money should be. So right now we have a descriptive theory that we can describe money, but we don't know exactly how money should be. But if we have done all the scholarly research in databases and information systems, we know what the perfect database is. We call it normalization. Then we can apply that to monetary systems. And so I looked at the blockchain. I'm trying to figure out what makes Bitcoin so special and what makes the blockchain so special. I realized that the blockchain is a database in which you can write to and you can read from it, but you can't change it and you can't delete it. So it's like a database that's been crippled. But also it's a database that has no owner, and that's kind of unique. All databases, whether it's a government database or a Facebook database, they'll have some kind of owner. And it also, I discovered it has some property that I call data supremacy. And this is where you cannot turn the database off. You cannot hack it. Even the governments cannot turn it off. And even the people that created the blockchain can't necessarily turn it off. So that's data supremacy. So then I was trying to figure out, well, what other database in the world has data supremacy besides blockchain? And after investigating it, I realized that the DNS system, the domain name system, has data supremacy when it comes to the root domain controllers. And so I don't know if you know about the root DNS servers, but they have been up and working every day since the day they were put up in 1985. And of course, there's 13 of them, and one might go down, but the other ones are there to take over if the one does go down. So the DNS root servers also have data supremacy. And then I designed what I think is the perfect money. I came up with something called the theory of perfect money. And three major categories. You've got confidentiality, you've got integrity, and you've got availability. And these are called the CIA triad. And if you study it, computer information systems, that's the first thing you learn about security is the CIA security triad. So that's just using the stuff right out of the textbooks for information systems. And then within that, we get into the integrities. There's something called entity integrity, domain integrity, referential integrity, user-defined integrity. And we can start looking out what we want our money to be, how it should be able to be transported all over the world at any second of the time. It should be able to uh, scale up, which means everybody in the world should be able to use it at the same time, should transact instantly. It should be 100% private, where nobody requires any kind of accounts or logins. If you lose it, you should not be able to lose it in a perfect currency, and you should not be able to have it stolen in a perfect currency. In a perfect currency, there should be a fixed amount which never grows, so there's no inflation. So I came up with all these rules, and I started designing a database that could enforce these rules. And that database I call the RADA, the Redundant Array of Independent Detection Agents. And it's kind of like the DNS root servers, except there's 25 of them instead of 13. I filed for a patent, and that patent was actually granted here a few months ago. So I'm one of the few people in the world that has a patent on digital currencies. We created the cloudcoin to be a demonstration of how this technology can work. And it's been very successful. So we've got this data structure called the RADA, and we have a bunch of system administrators that are located all over the world in different jurisdictions. So we've got them in, of course, America, but India, Australia, Russia, Singapore, Venezuela. Well, not actually, the one in Venezuela went down. We've got one in Argentina. So we've got them all over the world, and this takes away any systemic risk of failure. And all these things do is tell you if your cloud coin is authentic or not. So the way that it works is, if I have a file, it's called a cloud coin, and in this file there's a serial number, and there's also 25 authenticity numbers. These are basically passwords. And so if I want to buy something from you, I give you the file. Now you've got all the passwords, and you can go and change them all. So you can go in parallel to all these 25 different RADA, and it only takes about 2 seconds. You can change all the passwords, and now because you're the only one that knows the passwords, you're the new owner. And so nowhere did we have to create an account. You didn't have to log in, and you didn't have to. We didn't have to record whatever you did into a public ledger. So it creates a coin that is 100% private. It's fast as the DNS system, which billions of people use every day, trillions of times. So it's completely scalable. It uses very little electricity. And so unlike the blockchain that uses enough electricity to power a country, we use less electricity than a house requires every year. And there's same thing with bandwidth. Very little bandwidth is used. And so it's kind of like the DNS system. It's really wonderful, really fast, really efficient. And now we're starting to come out with the finished product, I guess you could say. We're going on exchanges. And so we're being very successful. It is what we call the last coin. Bitcoin was the first one, and Cloudcoin is the last because it has all of the features that you'd ever want. Another issue has to do with SSL and quantum safety. And so if you know about quantum safety, we've got these quantum computers that are developing quite quickly. In fact, it is very possible that within the year 2022, just 2 years from now, that we could see quantum computers that can crack all of the encryption that we use, including SSL, which is used for all the credit card payments. With Cloudcoin, we use AES, which is about 1,000 times faster than SSL, and it is used by our government, and it's quantum safe. So we've already got that encryption built into our technology. And we are also quantum safe because instead of storing all of our data in one database that can be unencrypted by quantum computers, we basically have shredded all of our data into 25 different shreds, put it all over the world. And so you'd have to go around to all the different servers and put that together, which we think is impossible. It's got data supremacy because in order to hack it, you would have to be able to hack 25 of these servers, which is statistically impossible. So that's what we've been doing. We are working on another project we call the digital dollar, and that's where we've taken everything that we've learned with Cloudcoin, and we're making it even better as far as faster and smaller, and more efficient. And that is something that we want to sell to national currencies, national governments. We want to have RADA-based digital currencies. So that's my spiel. Is there any questions or any discussion?
Yes, Sean, thank you. I do have a question for you. Can you talk about the denominations? I know that you have, of the currency, there's, in essence, $1 bill, well, not dollars, but the bills, and how you decided to denominate those currencies.
So most cash come in denominations. That means that we've got a $1 bill, a $5 bill, $10 bill. And we did the same thing, because if you have a $100 bill, that costs just about the same as a $1 bill, but it's much more efficient. So it holds a lot of value, and it's the same thing with digital currency. If I've got a digital file that represents, say, $1,000, it's much easier to move that $1,000 than if I had 1,000 $1 files. So we chose to use denominations. Also, when you have denominations, it's easier for people to think in terms of integers than to think in terms of decimals. And we might overlook this, but the most important part of a monetary system is the human mind, because we have to look at that information, those numbers, those prices, and we have to calculate based on them. And so if we have if we have numbers that are good, if we have integers, then it makes it a lot easier for us to think about it. And so we use denominations for speed and for ease of thinking. And one problem, though, is that if you've got denominations, now you have to be able to make change and break change. And so we have these servers that automatically do that. So if you want to go to a merchant's account and buy something online, you'll first send your 100 cloudcoin bill, break it into change, download it, and then you can use that to make your purchase. So unlike in a store where you have to go through the clerk to get your change, we can do that pretty much automatically with the digital money.
Okay, and I've got another one here.
Hey, Brett.
Yes.
Just real quick, I just want to let everyone know that they're welcome to ask questions in the chat as well. In the top right corner, you'll see there's a chat box, and anyone can ask their questions there if you have any.
All right. I know there's a system for recovering cloudcoin. How does that work exactly?
So we've got the theory and the actuality, and it's something that we're still working on, because it's working, but it's not working. It's not easy to use. And what happens is that we have these passwords that they're authenticity numbers, and they're actually 16 bytes. They're called GUIDs. And GUIDs are very large random numbers. But what we can do is we can create a hash of a person's email address. So I'm Sean at cloudcoin.global, and we run that through an MD5 hash, and it's this big random number. And then we can put that into part of the authenticity number, like the last part of it. And then I can put that into the RADA when I change my passwords. And then if I lose those coins, I can go say, hey, RADA, here's my email address. It will make a hash of it, and it will look at the password to see if that hash is there. And if it is, it then will take that password, it sends it on to what we call the guardians, and the guardians send out emails, and so you'll receive an email that has your authenticity number. Now you're going to get 25 of these from 25 different RADA, and then you have to take the numbers and you have to put them together into one file, and then you have your coin back. Right now we're working on trying to make an easier way to do that. And one idea is that we, instead of sending the authenticity number, we send links, and they click on the link, and then it allows them to download it into some software so they don't have to put it together. But that's the basic way that it works. And so we're the first coin that actually allows people to recover lost coins. That's a big achievement. And but making it actually work and making it work well, we're still in the process of that.
All right, Sean, we have a question in the chat from Joseph Hood. He would like to know how you do your foreign currency conversion. I guess maybe if somebody wants to invest in cloudcoin.
So cloudcoin is a global currency, and it can be traded into anything in theory. To trade it, you have to find a buyer and a seller. So if I wanted to trade my cloudcoins into some other currency, I'd have to find somebody who wants to give me their currency for my currency. And that's where the difficulty happens, because we really need to have a market in which the buyers and sellers can find each other easily. And we do have markets like that. Those are the exchanges. And so if you're not on an exchange, then it's going to be very difficult for people to be able to exchange your coin for their coin, or their money for your money. And so that's why we have, we're working with bitcoin.com right now to get on that exchange. They exchange about $1.2 billion worth of currency every day. They've got about 300,000 users that buy and sell. And so once we're on that currency, that makes it very easy for people to exchange cloud coins for whatever currency they want in the world.
And Sean, can you talk a little bit about how someone can buy cloudcoin now or invest in cloudcoin?
So to buy cloudcoin, there's something called cloudcoinconsortium.com, and you'll see a little link that says buy, and you'll see different places on the web that are selling them. And there's a one called Rate-A-Tech, and that's the one I suggest people use to buy, but you can go there and use your credit card to buy them. There's other places where you can use PayPal.
I'm going to put the link for cloudcoin in the chat, so people can check out your website and see what it's all about. All right. Any other questions? Okay, another question I did have, Sean. It shows that you have to use the cloudcoin in 2 years. Now, is that just something you would have to cash out and then reinvest if you wanted to?
Well, it has to be authentic. When we started, we had it every 2 years. Now we've changed it to every 5 years. But it has to be re-authenticated every 5 years. And so the authentication process just takes a couple seconds. And in fact, our software, every time it boots up, it'll look to see if you've got any old coins that need to be re-authenticated, and it'll re-authenticate them automatically for you. But the purpose is that we don't want to have any coins that are permanently lost. If we have coins that are permanently lost, then what that means is that we're going to, over time, if we have a fixed amount, that we'll lose them all. And we have to pay our rate administrators. And so we allow them to mine coins that have been permanently lost. And so if you lose some cloud coins, maybe get hit by a bus and your cloud coins are lost, well, they'll recover them they'll recover them after 5 years of inactivity. And at least in like the dollars situation, dollar bills are spent every 2 days on average, 2.5 days. $100 bills are spent at least once every 7 days, once every week. So there's a high turnover of money. And if you've got some money that's sitting around for 5 years, then it's just not been doing anything.
Gotcha. All right. We've got another question from Samuel. Samuel asks the estimated time cloudcoin for the cloudcoin to join the exchanges.
So we're scheduled to be on 3 exchanges on October 1st, which is a month and a half from now. But what I kind of hate to say that, because you never know until it actually happens. But that's what we've been told, and that's what we're planning for.
And I've got one more question really quick. So I'm thinking of just this situation where let's say I need to pay someone, but a cloud coin is let's say one cloud coin is worth $10 at this point, and I need to pay someone at a value of $1, and so I would need 0.1 cloud coin. How would that work exactly?
Well, when we get up to that point, and that would be a big, if we got to $10 per cloud coin, then we'd be the 3rd largest currency. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen, but if that did happen, what we would do is we'd go on to our next level. So we have the RAIDA root level, but we can have subdomains, and these subdomains would then take care of fractions. So we would have it so that these subdomains could take cloud coins, and they could then vault them, and they could create references to them, and they could create new digital currency that is based on them, and with what we call referential integrity. And so we would have sub-RAIDAs that would handle change.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Any more questions? All right, Sean. Well, I want to thank you for coming out today. And the cloud coin sounds like a really good investment now. The technology, I like that it's anonymous, and I think it's definitely got a place with currency coming up. So I look, and I'm actually probably, well, I am going to buy some cloud coins this weekend. Brett, the other Tech Academy guy here, he's bought some coins, so, and he's talked really well about it, so I will invest.
Yeah, and I don't want to make this a buy cloud or try to make this look like we're trying to advertise anything, but yeah, just personally, it's I think it's a great technology, and so yeah, it's definitely got merit. So yeah, I definitely appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay. And Sean, your book, Beyond Bitcoin, is that available on Amazon?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you can check out Sean's book. And yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming out today. The recording of this will be on YouTube. And for anyone that's not a Tech Academy student, you can check out more about our school at learncodinganywhere.com. All right, Sean. Well, have yourself a good weekend, and really good to meet you.
Good to meet you guys too.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, take care.